Hello and welcome back into the Depths channel. This is part 2 of my analysis into the horror series The Nice House on the Lake, written by James Tynion IV. In part 1, a group of friends are all invited by an old acquaintance named Walter to a luxury lake house in the middle of nowhere. Everything's going good at first, and then the group discovers that the Earth has gone through some kind of apocalyptic event. To make matters worse, they discover that their old friend Walter was hiding something sinister from them. Walter isn't human. He's an alien sent on a mission to find 10 exceptional human beings while his people kill everyone else. Walter keeps his friends hostage in the house while the rest of the world burns. We see how the survivors try to come to terms with their situation. But when one of the survivors tries to kill herself, they discover that they can't die. There's no escape from this prison. Not even death can free them. But that doesn't stop them from still trying to find a way out. After some back and forth, the group decide to investigate a mysterious glass black house by the lake. After discovering how to unlock the glass house, the group discovered that Walter was hiding another survivor away from them the whole time. Reggie has been here from the very beginning. He helped Walter design the house and all the strange black structures around it. But when Reggie refused to help Walter any longer, Walter hid him away. Reggie says that there might still be more survivors out there. Walter comes out of hiding and says things are getting out of hand. After some more arguing back and forth, Walter decides that the experiment isn't working and wipes everyone's memories. But this time, Walter isn't telling them what happened to the rest of the Earth, and he's placing himself in the house. This is The Nice House on the Lake, Part 2. Molly remembers when Veronica and Norah would fight all the time. She and Walter would act as mediators between the two, hear them both out, and decide who was right and who was wrong. It was obvious they were on the road to breaking up, and the truth is, they would have parted ways a lot sooner if it weren't for Walter. Molly didn't understand at the time, but Walter did everything he could to keep them together. Of course, she knows now the real reason he wanted them to stay together. It would have made it easier for him to save both of them if they were together. As kids, none of them realized it, but Walter was always doing stuff like that, making people do things they didn't really want to do, manipulating them like a puppet master, who's putting them in boxes, assigning them roles, so when that fateful day would come, he could save his friends and make them a part of his people's experiment. We get another flashback. Molly is hanging out in Walter's apartment. Veronica and Norah are fighting again. Walter tells Molly she can sleep over at his place, so she doesn't have to listen to Veronica and Norah argue all night. She jumps in Walter's lap, half-jokingly suggesting that she and Walter drop everything and move to Japan. She could teach Walter Japanese, and they can get married and never have to worry about anything else again. She says that sometimes she wishes Walter was straight. She means it as an innocent joke, but she had no idea that Walter had been struggling with his sexuality recently, and had actually started developing feelings for Molly. During Molly's monologue, we can see what appears to be the lake house on fire in the background. Whatever has happened, it's clear to see that the group is no longer living in luxury, and they appear to be fighting for their survival. As we see, they occasionally carry weapons, even though they're supposed to be immortal. Back in the present, we see that Walter has integrated himself into the house. When he wiped their memories in the black house, he took away everything. They know they are stuck in the house, but Molly believes that her husband is still alive. This could mean one of two things. Either Reggie was right, and this really is just a trial run, or Walter took that memory away too, and everyone on Earth is still dead. Walter knows that Molly is worried about Cam, her husband, but he assures her that they are all working on a way to get out of the house. During breakfast, Sam wonders if it would be possible to request a new building on the lake, so we can see that they can still order whatever they want. They just don't know Walter's the one behind it. They all believe they've only been at the house for about a month now, not realizing they've actually been there for much longer. They think there's still a hope of escape, and that's right where Walter wants them. He says they should all just take it easy. It's important they don't overwork themselves. But really, he's just trying to prevent what happened last time, keeping everything under control. While everyone's sitting by the table enjoying themselves, we see Norah, off by herself, cursing Walter for everything he's done. It seems, for some strange reason, Walter didn't wipe Norah's memory. She remembers everything. She remembers what Walter did, why they're here, and what happened to everyone else. Walter and Molly go for a walk by the beach. Molly says she's jealous of Walter, of how calm he is compared to everyone else. But Walter assures her that he's anything but calm. He feels guilty for leading them all to the house, into some kind of trap, but most of all, he feels guilty for liking it. Walter enjoys getting to spend time with his friends again, not having to worry about work, or bills, or anything else. It's like high school and college all over again. before they all became adults and had real responsibilities to worry about. We cut back to Norah, still cursing Walter's name. In my opinion, she has every right to be angry. Walter is the reason she's suffering. Even if he couldn't stop his people from destroying the earth, surely Norah would have preferred death over being Walter's prisoner. Even if there's a part of her deep down that still loves Walter, or at least she still loves the person she thought he was. The question is, how can Norah still remember everything when everyone else has forgotten? She would have tried telling everyone. So where is she? Did Walter hide her away somewhere? Later that night, Walter goes back to check on Reggie. He believes that Norah backed out at the last minute for this trip. He says that she doesn't feel right without her, which means that the group has no idea Norah was ever at the house. Walter says it wouldn't have been right if Norah was here and Reggie wasn't, or vice versa. And as much as Walter wishes he could have had them both together, he knows that can't happen. He asks Walter why he brought Ryan here, considering she doesn't know anybody but him. And for some strange reason, Walter seems to be almost avoiding her. This drives Walter mad, and he makes Reggie forget he asked that question. This has been a mystery since issue number 1. Why did Walter bring Ryan to begin with? She's the only one who doesn't seem to fit. Sure, she's an artist, but Reggie was a much better one. Whatever the real answer is, Walter doesn't want anyone to know. Most of all, Ryan herself. Later that night, we see Walter walking by himself through the woods. There's a glass house hidden deep within the woods we haven't seen yet. Inside this glass house, there's a great big mirror, which Walter somehow uses to speak to Norah. Walter walks through the glass, and we see where he's been keeping Norah this whole time. Walter built a place a little closer to the house, so Norah can see the others, but she can't communicate with them. They still have no idea where she is. Walter says after Reggie, he needed to do things differently. So this time, Norah is the one in hiding, and Walter didn't tell the others about the fire. Norah asks Walter why he didn't just kill her. He says that he would never be able to live with himself if he had done that. Walter's going to keep Norah in here, but he doesn't need to sleep at night like the others, so he'll come out and visit Norah while the rest are asleep, try and keep her some company, even though he's probably the last person she wants to see. Walter equipped Norah's space with a bunch of books, records, movies, and video games. He stocked the place with all her favorite foods and hallucinogens. He even left her some paper in case she wanted to write. Walter installed a one-way mirror in Norah's room so she can see the others when they're in the glass house, but they can't see or hear her. She asks why Walter is keeping her here. What's the point? Why not just wipe her memory like the others? Walter says he's doing this because he wants to convince Norah that he's doing the right thing, and he needs her help. Sarah admits she didn't like Walter at first. She found him unnerving. It was the way Walter would watch people. He'd sit back at parties by himself and just watch everyone else, studying them. There was a certain coldness about him. Sarah has always been the type of person to run directly at whatever was stressing her out, so she would start talking to Walter over cigarettes. Walter could be friendly with someone one minute and start talking bad about them the next. There was something off about Walter. He had this anger in him. It's like he was angry at the people he didn't like for not being better, and then he would get sad about it. It took years before Sarah would try to get Walter to explain why. It was Sarah's birthday party. Walter didn't do well around crowds and decides to go for a walk. Sarah joins him, even though it was her birthday party. Walter only likes a crowd when it's people he knows, but even then, he usually ends up feeling a little sad. Sarah asks Walter why he always seems so sad around the people he likes. He says it's because there's only room for so many. Sarah's confused and asks Walter to clarify what he means. He continues saying that there's only so many people he can care about, and he likes so many people. Those are the ones Walter wants to keep. This is why Walter has to keep his circle small. If he let too many people in, it would only make the decision that much harder. There were a few people Walter got really close to, even considered saving, only for them to show their true colors and prove to not be worthy of saving. But there are others who Walter knows will never hurt him, and will always love him. Sarah is one of those people. After a while, Sarah started noticing how Walter vetted people. He would pull them in and let them slip away. It started to become a running joke. Sarah would say things like, "Well, I guess this person isn't on the list anymore," not knowing the weight of those words. After the first day at the house, Sarah couldn't stop thinking about Ryan. Why was she there? Just a year before the world ended, Sarah had been out with Walter having a couple of drinks, and Sarah remembers making a joke about how Ryan lost her place on the list, and Walter agreed. And yet, here she is. Day 42. It's been over 10 days since Nora's been locked in isolation. She can see and hear the others while they're in the house, but they can't see her, no matter how badly she wishes they could. She wants to tell them the truth, what's really going on, but she can't. Sarah brings up the idea about them all getting their own little houses by the lake. As the others head off to the main house for breakfast, Walter hangs back and looks towards the two-way glass at Norah. Later that night, while Walter prepares dinner, Veronica is designing an observatory to continue studying the stars. She says it is important that they establish some kind of communication with the outside world. They still have a hope that there's a way out of this prison. Walter, hoping to get their focus off of escaping, says that they should consider coming to terms with the idea that there might not be a way out. He clearly wants to avoid what happened last time. Things got messy and out of control. Walter would like to avoid that any way he can. Rick brings up the idea of making a farm, giving them a steady food supply, and giving them something to do. Walter likes this idea as well. It's unclear whether Rick is still under Walter's influence or not. Sarah excuses herself from the table and goes for a cigarette. Ryan asks to steal Walter for a minute, but he dismisses her and says he needs to see what's wrong with Sarah. Walter is still ignoring Ryan, not giving her any attention, acting like she doesn't exist. Walter goes to check on Sarah. He asks her what's wrong. Sarah was upset how quickly Walter shot down her separate house idea. It seems that despite Walter's best efforts, things are falling apart again. Walter says that every clue they've tried following has only led them to dead ends. Of course, Walter admits the fact that he's the one leaving the clues behind. He says they should start to consider building a life here and begin to accept their fate. But Sarah says that she has people on the outside, people she cares about, people she wants to see again, not knowing they are already dead. Sarah intends to get back to her old life, but for some strange reason that she can't figure out why, Walter doesn't seem too eager to get back to his. Walter tells Sarah that he just wants to find some kind of balance, but Sarah tells Walter that he doesn't get to decide that for everyone else. Walter says he doesn't want to get the others' hopes up. While Sarah doesn't accept this, she knows Walter can't help but put himself in the role of the leader. If Sarah only knew just how involved Walter really is. Later that night, while Walter is visiting Norah, he laments to her about his struggles with the group. She shows very little empathy for Walter. She says that they want to escape because they still think they have a world to escape to. Walter knows this is true, but the first time, when they knew everyone else was dead, they were too sad to do anything productive. It seems no matter what Walter does, the experiment will be a failure every single time. She says he can't expect people to fall in love with him when he killed everyone on the planet. Walter snaps, his face morphing into a hellish red mess of flesh. "I didn't kill anyone. I saved you." Walter calms down and tells Norah that she doesn't understand. None of them could. She says there isn't a way for him to win. Either way, they will continue to plan an escape, or they will hate his guts. There's no in between. The next day, while Ryan and Reggie are hanging out in their room, Ryan admits that she feels lonely. She feels like a shadow. No one asks her opinion on anything. Sometimes they forget she's even there. Ryan reveals that Sarah and David used to not like her. David eventually warmed up to her, but Sarah still gives her the cold shoulder. She only met Reggie twice before this, and everyone else might as well have been a stranger. And now that Walter isn't paying attention to her either, she can't help but feel like the odd one out. Everyone has their own unique skill. They all fit into their own roles, but Reggie and Ryan are the only ones who do the same thing. Even their symbols are eerily similar. If it wasn't for Reggie, Ryan would be completely alone. She decides to go for a walk. She goes into the glass house to cry to herself. She doesn't know what she's doing here, what her purpose is. She feels completely lost. She puts her head against the mirror and stares at herself. Suddenly, as her breath fogs up the glass, she sees a handprint appear in front of her face, almost like someone is trapped behind the mirror. Ryan taps her finger on the glass. She then puts her ear to it, and sure enough, she hears someone tapping back. Suddenly, a message appears on the glass. "Hi." Norah has finally made contact with someone other than Walter. Arturo never really knew Walter, at least not personally as the others had. They were more like mutual friends. Sure, he had met him plenty of times, but he had heard more about Walter than he had talked to him personally. Sam was always complaining about something Walter had done or said that day, and yet he never left Walter's side. Sam had a hard time opening up to people, and when he did, he never really wanted to let them go. Arturo knew Walter and Sam were close, so he always did his best to keep them friendly. Arturo liked making people feel comfortable. That's why he got into acupuncture in the first place, and that's why he got with Sam as well. As people go, Sam and Arturo couldn't be more different. Arturo has always been a free spirit, never stressed too much about life, took life one step at a time. Sam, on the other hand, was always stressed out. Arturo liked being able to calm him down. It was a challenge for him, and that's ultimately what led him to fall in love with Sam. Back inside the glass house, we see a new message from Norah appear on the glass. Walter is not human. The world has been destroyed. He has taken your memories. Do not trust him. Back with the others, we can see that the group has started construction on Veronica's observatory. It seems the gang has been busy. Reggie helped design a spa for Arturo as well. Back in the main house, we see Naya staring aimlessly out the window while her husband Rick plays the piano. Naya misses her old life. She misses being a doctor. She feels helpless here. Rick asks her if she's okay. She tells him not to worry and just to keep on playing. Walter looms over them in the background. Back in the glass house, we see Ryan is still communicating with Norah through the glass. I am Norah. I don't know if you remember me. I was invited to the house like the rest of you. I was your roommate for the first month we were here, before he took our memories. He let us see what his people did to our world. If we touched the statue outside the front door, we could see our homes on fire, our loved ones burning. He wants us to be grateful for being here. He wants us to love him for saving us. He's trying to control us, but we can fight back. Later on, when Ryan goes back to the main house, Walter pays Norah a visit. The experiment isn't working. Walter knows it, and Norah reminds him of it every chance she gets. Walter considers taking another angle. Maybe he can take another form. Try to introduce himself as someone they don't know. Try to tell them about the fire again. But Norah says if he does that, they'll probably just try and find a way to kill him. Walter snaps at Norah and tells her to help him. But at this point, Norah would rather die than help Walter in any way. She tells him that he's never going to fully have their trust while he holds all the power. There needs to be a balance, otherwise they'll always be cautious. Walter says he's not going to let her screw this up for him. After all, they aren't the only survivors. There are others, and if Walter can't convince his people that his group should get to live, then they'll be killed, and all this would have been for nothing. Norah doesn't want the others to die either, so she compromises. She says the only way this will work is if Walter shares some of his power with her. Equal the playing field a little bit. Let her take some control. Walter says he'll show Norah something later that night in the Black House. This is all part of Norah's plan. She told Ryan about the Black House. She asked her to meet her there tonight. Meanwhile, Reggie and Arturo make a disturbing discovery in the spa house. Reggie wanted to try out acupuncture, but whenever Arturo would stick Reggie with a needle, his body would just push the needle out, and his wounds would heal. They debate on when they should tell the others. They decide that it's better to get it over with than to wait. They tell everyone to meet them downstairs. Then, they tell them about their discovery. At first, the others couldn't believe it, but when Reggie cut his palm with his knife, they all watch as the wound would close back up. They start to realize this is more than just a pretty-looking prison. There's something much stranger going on. At night, when everyone is asleep, Walter takes Norah to the Black House, but he can't risk the others seeing her, so he walks her through a sort of hidden passage outside of space and time. Walter calls it the backstage. He says this is where he lives. To Norah, it looks like they're walking through pure blackness. This is because her mind can't comprehend the alien universe she's standing in. A few moments later, they're at the Black House. Walter opens the door, and he and Norah walk through. Ryan sneaks up behind them and makes her way into the Black House before the door closes. Naya's story starts out differently than the others. Instead of giving her own account of how she met Walter, we see an older and disheveled Rick watching an old video from Walter's birthday party before his phone goes dead. It's clear from this opening that Naya is dead. Rick is reminiscing on old times by watching videos of his late wife. We don't know what has happened in this future timeline, but whatever it is, it's left the group vulnerable. We can see this by the fact that they carry weapons. They're not invincible anymore. They are no longer living in luxury as the rest of the world smolders to ash. They're now fighting for their own survival. And as we can see by this opening, not everyone is going to make it. Back in the present, Walter shows Norah the controls. This is where he controls the environment. He can change the weather, see where everyone is, and where he can fabricate all the supplies the others request. Walter is handing the controls over to Norah, giving her some of the power, making them equal. He's going to try it her way. While the others are reeling from Reggie and Arturo's revelation, David decides to have some fun with this and says that they should test to see how far they can take it. It's pretty ironic that David is the only one excited in this scene. Considering the first time the group discovered they couldn't die, it was David who had to deliver the disturbing news. Sarah finds the guns in the library, and they decide to use them for this little experiment. While the others don't want to witness any more violence, Reggie is happy to pick up a rifle and shoot David with it, even if he knows it won't really kill him. Reggie lines up his sights and takes the shot. David falls to the ground with a giant, smoking, bloody hole in his chest. The others rush over to him, fearing they might have killed him. But sure enough, after just a few moments, the bullet pushes itself out of David's body and the wound closes. While he says it hurt, it didn't kill him. David is alive. Back in the control room, Walter shows Norah the house member controls. From this panel, Walter can control how fast his friends heal, how fast they age, and their memories. Norah asks Walter how far this machine can go. Pretty far, Walter replies. Reggie helped design the structure, while someone else designed the controls, but Walter doesn't say who. And now, Walter wants to share the controls with Norah. Unbeknownst to him, Norah is not the only member in this room right now. We see Ryan hiding away in the shadows. She's heard everything. Norah asks Walter where his controls are. At first, he plays dumb, but Norah doesn't relent. She says if Walter wants her to participate, then he will need to share everything with her. Walter reluctantly hands over his controls. With this, Norah can make Walter vulnerable. Complete control. Norah asks why Reggie never used this to kill Walter while he was trapped in the Black House. And Walter says it's because Reggie never knew about it. He didn't know Walter had a kill switch. Back at the house, David encourages the others to test their healing factors. After all, it's not like they have anything to lose. The others are still skeptical, but Rick goes to bat. David shoots Rick, and a few moments later, he comes back to life. Back in the Black House, Norah tells Walter that if he really wants to hear her advice, she thinks he should give everyone their memories back. He can make their case in front of them all, then they'll decide what to do with him. He says that would never work. Walter's just a small cog in a large machine. If Walter's race finds out that he gave one of his test subjects control, his superiors will not be happy. Norah says Walter can try to defend himself, make his case, but that's not going to work. Each test is meant to have exactly 10 humans, each meant to fit into their respective roles. An artist, a writer, an actor, a historian, a musician, a mathematician, a doctor, a scientist, a politician, and a person of faith. Each meant to represent the best of their fields. Each field is to have one, and only one, representative. Norah gets what Walter's saying now. It's Ryan. Ryan's the problem. When Reggie stopped cooperating with Walter, he hid him away. Reggie helped design the base. He knew how it operated. It was too dangerous to let him out. But he also cared for Reggie, so he couldn't kill him. So he locked him away. And then, that left a role empty. Walter needed an artist. That's where Ryan comes in. If Walter's superiors see that there are too many humans, they'll kill everyone, Walter included. The situation is bad, but Walter says he might have a plan. He can erase Ryan from their memories and remove her from the house. As much as it would pain him to do so, he can save everyone else. Ryan hears everything. Walter thanks Norah for the help. He finally has someone he can share this burden with. As the two leave the Black House, Ryan emerges from the shadows, now knowing her future. Back with the others, Rick convinces Naya to give Death a shot. She's reluctant, but as a doctor, her medical curiosity is too strong. Ryan starts playing with the controls. She wants to give everyone their memories back. This gives everyone at the house a massive headache, and Reggie's nose begins to bleed. All of Norah's memories come back to her. There's a reason why Walter wanted to give Norah the controls. It's because she designed them. She helped Walter and Reggie build this place, and then Walter wiped her memory. Walter knows someone is in the control room now. Ryan's life is at risk. Walter's gonna kill her if she doesn't kill him first, so she turns Walter's healing factor off, or at least she thought she did. Unknowingly, Ryan just turned off everyone's healing factor. Back at the house, Rick points a pistol at his wife. Rick's memories haven't come back yet. Reggie tries to stop him, but it's too late. Naya is dead, and she will not be coming back. Norah says that what she loved and hated the most about being Walter's friend was that he was an enabler. Walter loved passionate people, and when he found out what you were passionate about, he would make that person pursue it with everything they have. For Norah, it was writing. At At the time, it seemed like Walter just wanted his friends to be the best version of themselves. To a certain extent, that was true. But really, Walter was just trying to place his friends into specific roles so he can bring them to the house. Even during times when Walter and Norah were fighting, he would still encourage her writing. He even found her a publisher in New York who gave Norah her first real writing job. Norah used to be grateful for all Walter did for her. It wasn't until she discovered the real reason he was helping her. After that, she didn't feel so grateful. Norah remembers a time when she was sleeping over at Walter's place. She woke up in the middle of the night. She walked into the kitchen to see Walter and his parents in their true form, burning a human body in the middle of the kitchen. Walter's father wiped Norah's memory before she could tell what was happening. Walter's parents never really liked Norah. They felt she would have been a waste of a spot, but Walter saw something in her that his parents couldn't. Despite saving her life, Norah isn't feeling particularly thankful anymore. Back at the lake, Rick holds his dead wife in his arms. Rick was the one who shot her. Of course, he had no way of knowing Ryan turned off their invincibility, but this doesn't make the loss any easier. Sarah says they need to find Walter. They need to make things right. Reggie talks to Veronica away from the others. He says they must find Walter before the others do. He tells her that Rick was working with Walter behind their back when they first got to the house. But if Rick is at the house, that means someone else is handling the controls. It's either Norah or Ryan, and they can't let Walter get to them. Speaking of Walter, he's still with Norah, who says that Walter needs to make an important choice right now. He can try and stop Ryan, but that means he would have to leave Norah's side, knowing everything he knows, leaving her to her own devices. Walter reminds her that he could kill her, but Norah calls Walter's bluff. They both know Walter still loves her, and couldn't hurt her even if he wanted to. So, he takes option 1. He has to stop Ryan before she makes things worse, but first, he pays Rick a visit. Walter says he's sorry. He never wanted any of his friends to get hurt. He loved Naya just as much as Rick did. Rick demands that Walter bring his wife back to life, but he can't do that. If he were here when it happened, he could have saved her, but it's too late now. He doesn't have the power to resurrect her from the dead. Walter says he can erase Rick's memory, make him think she never made it to the house in the first place, but he doesn't want that. He wants to remember what happened, and he intends to find the person who did this. We see that the high school crew, led by Reggie, stole a boat and are on their way to the Black House. While this is going on, Norah's off by herself. She feels like escaping from reality for a little bit. Can't say I really blame her. She steps into the sensory deprivation tank in the spa house. While trying to float away from her thoughts, she hears Walter talking to her in her head. At first she thought she was just imagining it, but she soon realizes that Walter is talking to her telepathically. She doesn't want to hear anything Walter has to say, but he tells Norah to remember. At first, she has no clue what he's talking about, and then it all starts coming back to her, all at once. Walter admits she was right. It's all falling apart, even worse this time. Norah reminds Walter that she warned him that it was never going to work, but all that's in the past. They have a much bigger problem on their hands. There are too many humans. Walter's masters don't know it yet, but they can find out at any time, and then they'll all be dead. Someone's going to have to die. It's the only way to ensure the group's survival. Walter was going to kill Reggie when he fought back, before the others knew he was alive. It would have solved all their problems. He just couldn't bring himself to do it. Walter says they need to move forward with Norah's contingency plan, something they had planned a long time ago. Norah doesn't like it. In fact, it crushes her, but it's their only option left. Back in the control room, Ryan starts freaking out, looking at the control panels going haywire. Walter teleports into the room and informs Ryan that Naya is dead. She starts panicking, horrified at what she's done, but Walter says they don't have time for grief right now. They have to skip to the ending. Ryan's confused. She has no clue what he's talking about, but Walter says they've been having this conversation for a long time, all the way back in the bar when they first talk. Walter asks Ryan how she thought the world was going to end. Well, now, she's going to have to decide. The others are on their way, and they'll be here soon. Walter shows Ryan how to use the controls. He even shows her what button she needs to press to allow to kill him. He says the others might have ideas of their own. Ryan says she doesn't understand, but Walter believes she does. But she just doesn't want to be the one to make the hard choice. He understands. It is a hard choice, but she has to make it nonetheless. Ryan asks Walter why he brought her to the house in the first place. They hadn't talked in over 2 years. He could have let her die with everyone else. She would have preferred death at this point. He says he'll answer her question, but first he's going to need a drink. Walter brings them back to the bar in the Black House. He says he used to like sitting at the corner of a bar with a good light beer and watch people go about their lives, studying them, seeing how they operate, knowing they were all living on borrowed time. Walter's trying to avoid the question, but Ryan isn't letting up. She wants to know why he brought her here. Walter says he liked Ryan better than anyone else. He didn't want her to die, but Ryan heard what Walter told Norah. Reggie was supposed to be the artist, not her. Walter says that he got greedy. When he knew Reggie wasn't going to cooperate, he hid him away, so he'd need another artist, one he didn't want to die. So he chose her. Ryan believes Walter is going to kill her now to correct his mistake. But as it turns out, he doesn't have to. Naya's dead, which means there are exactly 10 living humans. Of course, the system's a bit out of order. There's 2 artists and no doctor. Walter suggests that either Reggie or Ryan should read some books on basic field medicine, so if his masters come, things won't look out of place. Ryan wants to know what her other options are. Walter says there's always the everyone dies fast option. Walter shows her a universe filled with fire and brimstone. This is the world we've been seeing through the characters' monologues. It was an alternative universe showing Ryan what could happen if she keeps messing with the controls. She can destabilize the ecosystem, causing everything to fall apart. This would cause his masters to take notice, and if that happened, they would burn the lake to the ground, like they did with the rest of the world. Another option is they could kill each other over Naya's death. The survivors might get a few years before the aliens find them and finish them off. So the options are either death or a slightly slower death. Not good. Walter gives Ryan a third option. She gets everyone to agree to kill him, using the controls and taking over the ecosystem themselves. They would have to make sure they keep everything maintained, make sure no one dies, but otherwise they could live peacefully together. Walter says his masters won't be happy if he's dead. They might let the others live if they can continue to maintain their ecosystem and outperform the other test groups. Ryan had no clue there were other test groups. She thought they were the only ones. She asks Walter if the whole world is really gone, or if it's just a test, but he assures her that whatever is left of the world isn't worth going back to. It really is gone. The others are here. He tells her to go out and talk to them. He'll wait for their answer. Veronica consoles a crying Ryan. She tells them that Walter's inside and is letting them talk amongst themselves. She tells them that Walter will let them vote if they want to kill him. Reggie believes this must be some kind of game, but Ryan assures him it's not. They'll control the lake themselves, and they'll have a few human lifespans before the aliens come back to check on them. Arturo questions if any of them could bring themselves to actually kill Walter. While he has put them all through hell, he was still their friend. They still care about him. Veronica asks Reggie what he wants to do. He knew Walter better than any of them. It was all aesthetics. It was how to make this place nice for us, to make it beautiful. Like, you all know we're not in Wisconsin, right? I don't even know if we're on Earth anymore, but I still don't know what he's trying to pull here. He never opened up like that to me. Not really. I was always Norah. Reggie tells Ryan that Norah was the one who helped her sneak into the Black House. She's on their side. Molly says they can go in and talk to him. Before they all go in, Rick confronts Ryan and aims the pistol at her. I'm making things right. I'm doing it for Naya. Ryan had no way of knowing that Naya was going to die. She didn't know what she was doing, but Rick says it doesn't matter. David steps in front of Ryan and tells Rick to put the gun down. Rick feels like he needs to do something, but David tells him that killing Ryan won't bring Naya back. It won't solve anything. Ryan feels nothing but remorse. She never intended for anyone to get hurt. Norah comes out of nowhere and tells Rick not to hurt Ryan. She was just doing what Norah sent her to do. She tells Rick that if he wants to shoot someone, then he should shoot her, pulling the gun to her chest. With tears in his eyes, Rick puts the gun down. Now that the situation is diffused, Norah gets everyone else's thoughts. They need to vote. Do they let Walter live, or do they kill him? After going around and tallying their votes, the group informs Walter of their decision. He's going to die. He says he's sorry for everything. Walter tells Norah to grab the controls and do what he showed her to do. Rick still has the gun, but he says he can't do it. Despite being responsible for Naya's death, he doesn't want to kill Walter. Ryan asks Rick to hand her the gun. After all, Walter said it was her choice. With tears rolling down his face, Walter gives his final goodbyes to his friends. I hope you all remember the person you thought I was. I'm so glad that you all let me into your lives. I liked being human. I liked being your friend. I am so sorry about your families. All the other people you cared about. Reggie tells Walter he's said enough. It's time. With remorse painted across her face and tears rolling from her eyes, Ryan lifts the pistol up and shoots Walter in the head. He bleeds out on the bar while the others console each other. They discuss what they'll do next. They decide they're going to bury Naya and Walter, give them a proper burial place. After that, they're going to have to just figure out how to live on with themselves. As the others talk among themselves, Reggie pulls Norah to the side and says it seems like she was going to say something before Walter died. Now that they all have their memories, Reggie wondered if Norah remembered something important. She says she remembered a lot, but nothing that could have made a difference. As we zoom out from the house, we see that they haven't been on Earth this whole time. They've been on this flat structure floating through space. Later, we see someone looming far above the house away in the distance. Someone emerges from out of the darkness. It's Walter. He's alive. I remember that last night, in the human world as it was before. I sat in a bar I liked, drinking and watching all these people, knowing that soon their lives would be ripped apart by fire and unimaginable pain. I comforted myself knowing that I had found a way out for the ones I cared for most, that I would be with them soon, far away from that place. But Nora's voice played in my ears over and over from earlier that evening. We see a message log between Walter and Norah before the first day. They're debating about how to get the others to go along with Walter's plan. This is when we learn that Norah was hiding from Reggie in the Black House. Faking Walter's death wasn't his plan after all. It was Norah's. She pulled the Batman gambit. She devised the whole thing, knowing how each person in the group would react to the situation. They faked Walter's death. This was Norah's contingency plan. This is what she knew would ultimately bring the housemates together. Norah tried warning Walter that this plan would never work, but he wanted to try anyway. When he finally came to terms with the fact that Norah was right all along, he decided to go with her. Walter didn't die in the bar. It was all an illusion, and the only one who knows is Norah. Walter's alive, and he's still in control. But now, he'll be operating in the shadows. The others can never know he's alive. This is their best chance at survival, even though it breaks Walter's heart. I didn't want to believe she was right, but she was always right about these kinds of things. I wasn't sure she wouldn't burn it all down just to spite me, but she didn't. It felt good to trust one of them, to feel her love by knowing she would keep my secret and keep me safe. Not that she would put it that way, but still, I had never let one of them have that kind of power over me. Maybe they could have prepared for it all in some way I hadn't anticipated. Those were the early days, the easy days. It took them only a few months to make peace with building a life at the house. It would take longer for them to realize they would need to fight to keep it. End of Cycle 1. This is the end of The Nice House on the Lake. I thoroughly enjoyed reading through this series. In Part 1, a lot of comments mentioned how similar this story feels to the Harlan Ellison short story, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. In this story, a maniac AI named Am kills everyone on Earth, but keeps 5 humans alive, so he can torture them forever. The Nice House on the Lake is sort of like I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream in reverse. Instead of putting the survivors through hell like Am, Walter builds his friends a paradise. But there are certainly plenty of other parallels between these stories. I'd be willing to guess this was on purpose. Something I wasn't expecting going into the series was how much I was going to end up feeling for Walter in the end. He's without a doubt a villain. He keeps his friends prisoner and takes away their free will. But unlike Am, Walter wasn't the one who destroyed the world. He was powerless to stop it. All he could do was pick a few people to spare. And instead of saving the people he was expected to, he saved his friends. It's hard not to feel bad for Walter. He's put in an impossible situation and does what I think a lot of us would have done. He doesn't want to hurt his friends, even though that's exactly what he ends up doing. The story leaves you feeling very conflicted, uncomfortable, and not sure right from wrong.
and I think that's kind of the point. If you enjoy The Nice House on the Lake, then let me know down in the comments, and let me know if you'd be interested in me covering the sequel, The Nice House by the Sea, which sees a new group of survivors and a new Walter-like alien. I'd like to give a very special shout out to all my patrons. I wouldn't be able to do this without